Hi, and welcome to my very first tutorial. Today we're going to make this dragon wing sword blade. And for this project I used an 8mm crystal, 28 gauge colored wire, 20 gauge copper square wire, and 24 gauge half round. So let's make it. Okay. To make this dragon blade, we're going to start with 3 pieces of wire, 20 gauge square. We're going to cut a piece at 12 inches, one at 10, and one at 9. And we're going to fold them in half, starting with the longest one. On the longest two, you can fold them pretty snug, so the pen's nice and tight at the end on the longest two. On the shortest one, I'm just gonna put a softer point for the tip of the blade. Make sure to keep the flat sides together. Don't let it twist. This is going to be the point of the sword. So it doesn't have to be too pointy, because we can always tighten it up a little later too. Because we're going to put some wraps through there. Alright. So this is the shortest wire. Let's kind of open it up a little bit. And then take the next shortest wire that's going to go inside this one. You can open up a little bit too. And keeping them all nice and flat. Then the longest one goes in the center. And then what I like to do is take a piece of scrap wire and wrap these 4 together, hold them together. Just take a half round, works really good, and then we're just going to cinch these together, wrap it like 3 or 4 times, nice and tight, and then we can shape the point of the blade a little better. Use the whole thing. And nylon pliers work great for smashing that down. Alright. So you see the point here? You're just going to slide these down as comfortably as they go. It's just kind of sturdy up the blade. Give the blade the shape you want. And again, we can tighten this later. Be nice for. So we'll eventually tighten it up. Make sure they're all in there nice and flat. Flat is important. And then I'd put another piece of scrap wire around this area, around the fattest part, just to secure it in there. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I secured it in 2 spots. And now we're going to determine the length of the blade. And I believe it's like a little over 2 inches, like 2 1/4. It was a good length. So just slide this little bar down to where it's about right on the money. About a little over 2 or however long you want your blade. And then you got it right there. Just going to take these out 2 wires and just fold them out. Like so. And then these 2. Now there's going to be a little gem that sits here. So you can see right here. And it's got like a little pointed back. If I can show you, I'm going to put a blue one in this one. See how it's got a pointed? We're going to make a little bed for that right there. So, your blade nice and secure. Don't let it slide around. See, you don't want that going on. Make sure it's where it's supposed to be. And then fold this piece down at a 45, like that. You can use these tools if you want to. And then come out, once you get it at a 45, come out just a little bit, and then tip it up. So it looks like you got a nice little point there. And then right back at the same distance, you're just going to level it up. And make it a little deeper. And then a nice little dip for the gem to sit in later. Okay. The next part we're going to make the ribbon that goes down here. And then we also have to add a piece here. We're going to cut 2 more pieces at 9 inches long and then fold them right in here. And I'll show you what that looks like. I already pre-cut them at 9 inches. And they're going to go right in here. So about an inch past this little piece here. And you're just going to create a bend in here. I'm going to do that on both sides. And what I do, because this is kind of fidgety, I wrap these 4 together with a spare scrap piece, and then I can bring these in together. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I fastened the top with two bands, and then you can see how it's kind of a little easier to move around. And I'm going to fasten these 3 as well. But you can kind of slide your little bar down here to get it closer. And basically you're just going to want a nice little diamond shape. It would be easier if I fasten that. But we're going to do that, but we're going to make that a lot smaller in there so it matches down here. I'll be right back. Okay, I fastened the little wings down too, and I'm just pushing them in to get a closer, tighter diamond shape in the middle. And then try not to twist your squares so they lay nice and flat. And the divot's going to be in the back. Oh, pokey things in the back. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Yeah, you can kind of see how you just kind of want a star shape there in the middle. Keep it straight. Oh, that's slippery. Okay, next we're going to do the ribbon. And we're going to cut 12 pieces of 28 gauge colored wire, any color you want. This next piece I'm going to do blue and dark blue on, and I'm going to put a lighter color on the outside. I'm going to do 2 strands of that, so I'm going to cut 4 strands of a lighter color and then 8 strands of other colors, and they're going to be about 10 inches long and 12 pieces of that, a 12 each, 28 gauge. I'll be right back. I'll show you what I got. Okay, I cut my 28 gauge wire at 10 inches long, and I got 12 pieces. And I'm going to put the light color on the outside so it makes a pretty design, and then I'm going to do a dark line down the center. So separate your colors if you can still see them. Glad I jumbled mine all up like this. It's kind of hard to do, but with practice it gets a little easier. So, and then if you're going to put this one will have to be separated. Is that 4? 3 and 3. Okay. So take half of your lightest colors, hold them towards the top here, and then the next color you want, you're just gonna level them all up here at the top. Fidgety, fidgety. And then slide. And it's kind of hard to keep them next to each other, but that's what you want to do. You don't want them to overlap each other. You want them to stay side by side and flat. And then we're going to do the center colors. I'm going to do a dark blue in the center. And have a piece of scrap wire, a half round scrap wire, because we're going to fasten these together so they don't slide around as much. And then my lighter color back on the other side. This will try your patience a little, but don't give up. If you do it right, it looks pretty cool. And then my 2 lighter colors on the outside. Keeping it flat. Nice. And they do bounce around quicker than you think. See, look, I already got a blue one on there. See if that's focusing. That's weird lighting. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, when you get them all together in your hand like this, you're going to take that scrap piece of wire. I think this is like an inch left over. This is the tricky part. I'm going to try to pin these together. Keeping them completely flat. Reach that in my finger there. See if this helps. It's easy for them to bunch up, and it's not really what I want them to do. I want to kind of keep them separated. Not easy to do on camera. Yeah, that's too tight. It's just not going to work. Oh boy. I'm going to get them realigned and try again. Hang on. Okay, so I got my ribbon organized. Now it's not perfectly flat, but if you chase it down a little bit, I got a nice smooth ribbon going with my 28 gauge, 10-inch long colored wires. Nice pretty ribbon. And then taking your fingers and smoothing it out helps to chase it down and kind of get rid of all the rough spots. Now this part's not pretty, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to cut that off later. So we're going to attach it to the blade. It's going to be pretty. So we're going to put this side up here like that. And then leave about like an inch stuff left over so you can pull on it, work on it. But first we're going to attach the 24 gauge half round to the back so we can start weaving it onto the blade. For attaching the back, I got 24 half round gauge. I put it on a bobbin. I just love these things. So I'm not sure how much you're going to need to wrap the whole blade because I've never just unwound it, but I would imagine a few feet of it. But I put quite a bit on this bobbin. Oops. But it works good. I love it. Keeps it from flinging around everywhere. Okay, so on the back, on this little divot, I'm just going to grab that and do a couple wraps on that. Maybe 2 or 3 times around. Alright. Just going to leave the tail on there for a little bit, just for leverage so I don't pull the whole thing off of there. And then you're just going to bring it around the front. So I'll show you. See, I got 3 little ties on there. Bring it around the front. And this thing we're not going to go over. We're just going to slide it down as we work. Okay, so now the tricky part. So with this little knot part on the top, which we're going to cut off, we're going to put it up towards the top. And you're just going to use your thumb and get the pattern so it's lined straight. Oh yeah, that's pretty. See? Easy, just smooth it out with your fingers. And then we're going to slide it under this bobbin, underneath the first wrap there. And you just slide your fingers down so if I can pick it up. I'm just going to try to pin those colors down like that. lay the half round over it, go around the back. The colors are still lined up right. This thing will slide around a little bit, you can pull it up. Colors look good. Oh yeah, that blue is pretty. So pull it nice and snug. I'm going to go around 3 times. You can make sure that, see all this extra I have down here because I wasn't paying attention. You want a lot of it up here because you're going to do the handle with this ribbon design too. So as you pull it up, just make sure your colors stay nice. So you got like at least an inch, plenty of room at the top. Alright. So now with the third one, and you can smash this down as you go, but I tried something different with this blade, and I kind of like that little puffed ridge, so I'm going to do the whole thing without flattening it down, and then I flatten it down at the end, if you like that look, you know, if you like it a little bit. See down here I started flattening it, but I'm gonna try that again with this one. Okay, so I'm going to position this a little better here. And then with your ribbon in the right spot, you're going to lift up the whole ribbon at a 90, keeping it straight. And then we're going to do 3 passes underneath it. Just push it up nice and tight in there. And a nice snug wrap. Keeping it all the same. Slide your little keeper down. Do 3. And then we're going to, oops. And once you get a kink in your ribbon, that's not ideal. Because it always pulls it right out of line. And then you're going to push your ribbon down over the 3. Is my line still right? I feel like I want to fix something. I'll be right back. Okay, I just had to realign the colors that got out of line, which didn't take that long. Just unwound it, fixed them, and put it back. So I got 3 behind it, and then you push the ribbon back down. Fingernails are great for making them flat. And then we're going to go over the top twice again, and this will kind of help pin down the ribbon where we want it. There's 2. Try to keep it smooshed up there. Everything's still where it should be, I think. Looks good. Alright. So then we're going to fold the ribbon up again at a, not a hard 90, but you know, fold it up out of the way. And now we're going to do 5 underneath, 5 wraps behind. One, 2, 3. You don't want your flat wire twisting either, which it does. 4, 5. Nice snug wraps. Alright, so that's 5. Pushing back as far as you can get them. And then we're going to lay the ribbon down on top of it again. Just try to stay in the center of the blade. Feels like since I undid that one, I got a kink right there. See if I can pull it through. Oh, I did. Okay, that works. And the colors are still lined up. What are the odds of that? Alright. Okay, so now we're going to go over it twice again. I have my charger right there. Alright. Push things around with your finger. Oops, sorry to keep it there. Alright. Bend that up. And now we're going to do 7 behind. 7 wraps behind it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Make sure the blade's nice and straight. Slide that down. So I got 7 behind it. And as you push this down, push. Alright, and the ribbon is still lined up. What are the odds of that? It's always nice when that happens. Alright, now we're just going to go 1 over the top. Now if you're using a fatter gauge half round, you know, you're going to have to do less because you're going to run out of blade if you're doing a fatter wire, of course. Alright. So we're going to fold this up again. Hold that down with your thumb, slightly bend this up out of the way. We're going to do 7 again. And 1 over the top on this one. She wasn't so pinched right there. And one over the top. And you're trying to keep the ribbon spread out as possible is what you want. So use your fingernail, spread it out, bend it up. Not a hard 90, just a soft 90. Alright. And under this one we're gonna do 8. And this is where we're gonna start tapering the little point. Right here we're gonna start doing the point blade on it. See if we can do a little cleaner than that one. So, 1. 2. 5. Nice and snug. 6. 7. 8. So this is where it starts. So here, since we're going to start tapering down to a point, you're going to take the two outside, the very outside wires, just one on each side. Just kind of pull them down out of the way, not aggressively. Just like that, just the two out of the way. You take the rest of the ribbon and fold it up. And then you're just going to go over these 2 lane wires one time, just to pull them down, make sure they're in the right spot. Let's see. Got them laying with. And now you're going to go over these 2 wires 7 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to lay this ribbon down. You're going to repeat that last step. You're going to take the 2 outside wires, or 1. Now, so you have the 2 colors on the outside, slightly down. Fold that up. And these wires will be just laying right on the inside, just like they will. This one you're going to wrap 6 times. Make sure they're on the inside. Over that 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to do seven times on this one. Slide your keeper down. You lay your ribbon down, make sure it's inside those other wires. And then you do the same thing and pull it out, side wire. And pull the rest out. That's hard to see, but you just got these wires just lying just inside the last next pair, you know. See, sometimes when you pull them together, they snag up, so just use these, kind of pull them out. So this is straight. Ooh. Whoa there, buddy. Alright, I'm going to do this one 6 times. That's 2. So then you pull the next 2 out. Two, 3, Alright, just get a little tricky trying to keep them inside the other ribbon lines. But just a little practice and it gets a little bit easier. Definitely fidgety. But it's coming together. Just tend to push them in the center. Got room for 2 more though. Just slide these keepers off now. One, two, I'm only going to do 4 on this last one. See if I can get these 2 to go down the center. One. Then when you get down to like this last one, these ones are just going to fall behind the wrap. So you can kind of trim them at different lengths so they don't all bunch up in one spot under the wrap. Kind of spreads it out a bit. Yeah, that's an awkward reach. Yeah, it's time for new scissors. Okay, so on the last 2 that I got going here, I went under it once, then I pulled it back, because this will kind of pin it real good. And then under it once, then fold it down, over it once, bring it back up, under it, over it, under it, over, under. At least go till you're past all the wires you've clipped off. Don't twist. Don't do it. See, so I'm going under one, over one. Trying to keep it in the center. Squish it down as you go. Not there. Good job. It only takes a second to go back and tighten it up if you don't like it. Nylon pliers work great for straightening this out too. There we go. And I think the farther you go down with the design, the better. You know. Now, if you want to tighten up this tip, now's the time to do it a little bit. Because once you wrap it, you know, and you try to tighten it, your wraps get loose. But it's nice. I'm cool with that. Alright, so it's nice and down the center. You're going to trim it pretty you definitely want it to be behind the wire. Man, look at it twisted so fast. So you're going to trim it right up to it. Let's twist it again. Okay. And then I just cut a little off here. Wrap it around a couple times. And then go into the center point there and tie it off. Go around that at least 3 times. Okay, let's see what we've got so far. That looks pretty cool. It's pretty straight. You can do some little maneuvering with the ribbon with your fingers. Looks pretty straight. What are the odds of that? That's pretty cool. Now if you're going to smash this down, kind of do it light all the way down, just so you can see where it's pushing your wires as you go, so you don't do anything too. Oh, she was a little fatter right there. It's looking pretty lined up. It's pretty cool. The back looks nice and flat. Okay. Oh, I guess I smushed that around. This should be straight. Okay. I can definitely tie off the little tie in the back there. I'm going to just snip it. Next is the handle. Okay, so for the next thing for the handle, I tied off my half round wire to this little sidearm, so I'm going to come around the back and start wrapping the handle here. What I realized first is we've got to bend the handle down. So we're going to do a nice length. I think it's about an inch, but could measure it. Yeah, about an inch and an eighth is where I'm going to start the bend on this handle. That's nice, good proportion to the blade. You can always do, you know, a handle the size you think would look good with the blade size. So I just grab a pencil, or I'm using a dotting tool here, and just go over the top. Just a nice, it's not bented enough to do. So it's a nice size compared to the blade. Nice size length. And I got my keeper here, but we're going to slide that back up out of the way once we're done shaping the back. And then just push that. It's not easy because it's a lot of wire, but push that up there. So you got a nice little bend. I'm going to slide the keeper up to the top. Hold those wires together for sliding around. And then just push it up to the base of the handle. Now you can make this loop any size you want, as long as you can get the chain through it. Use some softer pliers to pinch it. But on my other one you can see it's not the same. Okay, so that's a good start. Alright, so I tied off the shoulder here. Look at that sliding around. Put that right at the top. And take your time to get the shape you want. And then two, you got to remember to keep this ribbon pushed down into the little bed for the gem. And then I'm going to come around the back of all the wires. And we're going to wrap around the base twice just to fix it all in, tie it down. Keep it low. And snug. Like that. And then if your ribbon's still straight, just slide your thumbnail down to keep them in line. Boy, that one blue one got kinked and now it wants to go over there. I'm just going to straighten out the ribbon. I'll be right back. Okay, got the ribbon straightened out and I got it pinned down with one. So two behind it and then pin it down with one. We're going to go over it again. So two total. Pulling it real snug. over twice, and then lift up the ribbon. I'm going to go 3 times behind it. Don't overlap your wires. And depending on the length of the handle that you decided to go with, the pattern's going to have to stop once you reach this. So if you run out of room, you just stop the pattern. And you can just repeat this till you reach that spot. And then at least once or twice over the top. Like I said, the more wraps behind, the more ribbon you get to see, which is pretty. You could do just one wrap if you wanted to. If you're getting close, then you can show off the ribbon, do like 3 or 4 wraps behind you till you get to that bump. I'm going to see how many I can get in here. And it's twisted. There's 3. And remember too, once you pin the ribbon down, you gotta put a couple over the top to hold it down. So that's 3. That's 4. I think that's good. Or is that 5? It doesn't matter. And then use your thumbnail to smush it out, fan it out like a peacock feathers. Okay, wrap that one twice, and it's getting close. I'm gonna cut this off. It's a little strap in the back. It's looking good. Got the little divot there. We're gonna put a pretty blue crystal in there. It's gonna be so pretty. And this one is an 8mm crystal, 39 SS. I'm not sure what SS means, but it's a blue zircon crystal. Really pretty. She'll stay there once we strap her down. Pretty. Alright. Okay, so we're at the top of our little bend here. I'm going to give it a couple wraps. Maybe 3. Nice and snug. But don't cut your line yet, because this is where it gets interesting. And we got to take off this little keeper here. I'm going to take that keeper off. I'll be right back. Alright, I took that off. I got this wrapped nice 3 times. So what I'm going to do here is these 2 outside ones, I'm just going to fold them out a bit. Fingernails are perfect, but these flat nose pliers work good too. Just move them out of the way a little bit, like so. And then now we do have to, I have to remove this from the bobbin. I'm going to give myself about 2 feet. We're gonna, so 2 feet of this loose stuff, that's going to be fun. Alright, so on this part, you're going to take your weaving wire and go through the side, but then come up after the two center ones. So it's like that, goes around back into there, and then out next to the two. And we're just going to cinch that down. See how that works? And that way it's perfectly even in front. Just 3 bands, hide it. Make sure it's not twisted like mine. Oh, that's better. Okay. See, and the ribbon's going to lay down through the center there. So now we're just going to go around the middle two. Just the middle two. Alright. And then you're just going to tip your ribbon up and wrap behind it 3 or 4 times. Your choice. You can make you can make different sizes. But we're going to do that around and over to the back. And then once you get to the bottom, you wrap a couple times, cut it, and then wrap till you get to as far down as you can go. So it's just going to be a repeat of lifting up the whole ribbon, wrapping behind it 3 or 4 times, then putting the ribbon down. Keeping the ribbon as fat as possible gives it a better show, almost kind of like a cushion, puffy, padded handle look. It's going to take some time to weave this one, so I'll probably come back. But yeah, just do 3 behind it, then fold it down, 2 over the top, 3 or 4 behind, and let's see what that looks like. We'll be right back. Okay, once you're on the back side and you've gone as far as you want, you're going to want to do a couple wraps to pin it down and then cut it fairly close, enough that you can get a couple wraps right there. Oops. Ooh, a nice little haircut on there. And then we're just going to keep wrapping over those. Anyway, you can pull these down out of the way a little bit. No hard bends, but enough so you can get your wire back there. Tie it off. I'm just using these to push those little prickly wires down, just so they wrap better. Just covering it up nicely. Oops, I went over the wrong one there. think I can get another one in there. Oh yeah, looks pretty good. Maybe I'll even try one more. Oh, looks nice. And if you have quite a bit of tail on here, which I have probably about 10 inches or so, you can leave that on there, because if you're going to wrap these little side wires with some designs, I have another one here that I did. You can put a colored wire and then come up with a half round and then just go over the top of it, give it a little design. I don't know if you can see that very well. But that's just a dark blue wire all the way, and then a half round over it, just spaced out. Kind of gives it a little textured look. So I'm just going to leave that tail on there. And so that's the handle for the most part. But I am gonna wrap those. Well, that's looking good. So next is the wings. That's a little divot there. Okay, next we're gonna do the wings. So we're gonna take these little keepers off. And we're just gonna shape the wings like this. I'm gonna start with the first one. Just curve it up. And then like I noticed with my other one is like it was almost like a fingertip height. And then I started to bend down the wire. But you know, you want to be in proportion of your blade too, so always keep that in mind, how it looks. And then I just rotate it around, because I seem to do it the same way if it's, you know, with my right hand. You just get a couple of notches, make sure they're the same height. Don't do anything drastic until you really like what you've got. It's about the same. And the next one, you just bring it up. Like that. That seems to be a good space right there. And then the third one, just do the same. Just bring it up along the bottom. Good start. Do a little Repeat that on this side. Kind of matches. You know, too, you can always use these right there, and then just kind of bend it down. Just keep checking it every once in a while, make sure it's still got good dimensions. So now they're kind of both matching. You're just going to kind of fill with your wings till you get them the way you want them to look. Want a sharper edge on the tip or rounded. Every time I watch a tutorial and their hands go out of the screen, I'm like, ah! And then I do it all the time. All the time. Okay, slowly getting there. We're just going to keep smooshing it around until you get the style of wings you like. Oh boy, I'll bend. think I want a flatter top. Just take your time so you get exactly what you want. There's no rush. The more time you spend on it, better it's gonna look. You want like a point. I'm not going to make this a forever long video. I'm just going to mess with these wings so I get them where I want, and I'll be right back to show you. Okay, so that took me a few minutes. Pushed the design around. I didn't trim them yet, but just make sure they look good compared to your blade size that you like them. Nice and tucked up here. Not too big. Just nice. And now I'm going to trim the wings. I'm just going to pull them out just a little bit. And then I'm just going to see how this one's got a little high. And then this line right here, don't count it. We're going to add that later. There's only 3, so it's the 2 red and then the 1 outside. And you can always trim them again, so don't trim them too short. But I think I'm going to start right there, and then the next one's lower. And the inside just slightly higher. Like I said, we can trim them again, so it's best to leave them just a little too long in case you don't like cut them short and then, I'm just going to match the other side. I'll leave room for errors. Ta-da! Okay, so it's not too bad. Like I said, take your time with the wings. They're not too complicated, but you know, like if you look at a wing picture, you know that you like the style, and just copy that. Alright. It's looking good. So next we're going to take one of the colors that you used in your blade, or all the same color if you want, but we're going to wrap these 2 bottom ones. We'll start with there. Okay, I'm going to use this darker color for the under part here, the dark red. So we're going to start down here in the corner and wrap up to where the top of that joint is, the bottom wing on that side. So we're just trying to wrap 2. And then wrap up to here. Okay, so we wrapped up to this little point here where you come to the split. And we're going to wrap this top one a couple times. and then go back over the bottom one once, kind of weave back and forth like a figure eight, but wrap this top one more than you do the bottom one so that they stay, what's the word? I don't know. But I'll show you as I go. So you're going to keep wrapping that one at least 3 or 4 times. Because you want the lines to come down kind of parallel like that, but you don't want any spaces on top, so you got to fill them in with wraps. So you go around that one, and you see how the next one, we're going to have to keep the net the same. See the gap? We have to wrap that many times just so that the lines are parallel like that. So that's going to be like 3 or 4 wraps around the top one. So 1. So it's confusing when it's under this one over that one. So wrap this one up. See, and then when you pull it down, it's, why is my fingernail marks in there? Because this bottom loop's going to fill up faster. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to do one more up here. And then come back down. See, now we got a nice filler. Now we grab the bottom one once. And then you see, like, to keep the lines nice and parallel, see, we're going to have to do like 3 wraps just to fill in that gap to the next line. 1, 2. Because if you just go 1 to 1, then you're going to have all these blank spots. 3. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. I like that. So go down there, grab that one once behind it. And then you see how you got it. Now it looks like we're going to need 3 to 4 wraps there. Keep it nice and dark up top. See if you... the wires don't like to stretch. You've got to make sure it's all the way where you want it. Then, see, now it's got like a memory bend in it. Just take the other fingernail and hold it there. Stay. One. 2. 3. I think it needs 4. Yeah. And then go down and grab that bottom one up behind it. See, that makes a nice net. once you get down here into the open area, at least wrap each wire once on this bottom side. It'll look more solid, so at least go around it once. And then when you get down here, go around this one once. And back over to that one. Behind that one again. And keep pushing it up. One. And one. So the lines still look good, so I don't have to, you can add an extra, like down in this section, you only add like 1 or 2 extra wraps to the outside one. Keeps the pattern the same. One, 2, back over, 1, 2, over the top, 1, 2, and since I got a good angle, I'm not going to do a third, so 1, 2, 1, 2, still like my angle, 1, 2, over the top. I think I'm going to add 1 extra wrap on this one, 3. 1, 2. It's got a good line going. On the top, 1, 2. Keep pushing it up. Okay. One, 2, 3, 2, 3. Remember, we're not going to go all the way down because we cut them a little long. These bobbins are great. You can just load them up and have a lot of wire at your disposal without it flying around. Just keep pushing it up so it's nice and snug. The tighter it is, the better it looks in the end. But it's looking good. I'm doing 3 on the outside because as I get lower, you know, I kind of want your wires to kind of follow the wing pattern. I feel like I might have messed one up. Yeah, this looks good. Now as you get lower, now I'm gonna snip these a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. Another thing too, you can hammer these little ends so that the wires don't slide down, you know. I hammered these just a tiny bit, just kind of flared them out just a bit, kind of holds the wire on. But as you can see, you know, just kind of look at your wrap and see where you want your wings to start. Or to stop, I should say. It's getting close. So maybe I'll do a couple more, because you can always undo it after you clip them, and if you want it shorter. I'm thinking this looks pretty good. Yeah. So slide these up. And since this one's a little longer, I'm going to wrap it an extra 5 times. And then I'm just going to leave a little tail, because I might go back and unwind it or push it up and then hammer it, and want to make sure that I got the right length. You know, even if you cut it short, you want to add more, you can just wrap it 3 times and start again. It stays on there really well. Alright, so that's one side. And we're going to make this other side match, and then we'll be back. Okay, I did the other side, and a good note is make sure that when you're going down that you keep the spacing kind of the same. I got a little tighter on this side. It's not that bad though. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. And I'm going to go ahead and trim these down. Yours might be perfect where they are, but mine are a little long. So I'm going to take like an 1/8 off of each point. A little shorter. I don't know if you have a hammer, but I'm going to just tap the tips of the wings just to widen them a little bit, help keep the line on. It does stay on there, but it does help to have it hammered just a bit. Let's see if I can get this in there. So it's just a little tap-tappy. I don't do a lot of hammering. So I'm new. I get a little bit of I did something. I might even trim it a little more than that. A little bit. But that, yeah, that keeps it. Oh, it took the extra little line right off of there. Huh. Interesting. Because I hammered it down. Alright, and then this little wiggle technique. Comes right off. Okay, so before we do these outside ones, we're going to flip it over. And you're going to see 4 that come down the back. You're just going to move the 2 to the outside a little bit. Lift up these center 2s just a bit, like that. And we're going to cut them, and we're going to cut them right about where the base of the little, where the wings come together, about there. Just straight across. And save these two little cuts. We're going to use them. They should be at least an inch, a little over an inch long. And then take your little roundy pliers and just tip this down like that. I could probably trim a little more off of there so that it lays a little lower. I don't mind that actually, but yeah, I'm just going to leave that for now. I don't think that looks bad. It's pretty streamlined. And make sure you got a good divot for your gem. That'll kind of protect the back. Okay. So on this one, you'll see like it has this little curl here, and that little extra piece of wire that comes down the inside here, which we're going to use these for. And they're way long. I mean, you don't need much. This one's even shorter than an inch. But we're just going to put a little curl on the end. Get as close to the end as you can. And roll it all the way over. So it looks like that. You can do the other one now too. Doesn't matter if one's a little long than the other, we're going to cut it anyways. So then what you're going to do is you're going to fit it in there somehow. So that it's, mine's kind of bent over a little too long, so I'm just going to straighten it up a bit. Flatten it down. I'm putting like a bend in it because I want it to match the bend of the wing. So it's going to go in there like that. Just straighten it out so it fits in there. Put a kink in it. Alrighty then. That's not what I wanted. Oh boy. That's a new one. Well, at least I have 1,000 pieces of scrap metal. Oh, I'll try this one. Once I gnar them up too much, I don't want them. Let's see how this one looks. That's nice. I don't mind that at all. Okay, so we're just going to set that right there. Now you're going to take your top color. I'm going to go with this electric blue. And you're going to wrap from right here up to the top there. And slightly over the top, just a single wrap, nice and tight. Alright, and I'll be back when I'm up to here. Actually, I almost forgot. We're gonna wrap till you get to where the diamond stops, and then where it looks like these two come together, the top blade and this double wrapped darker area here. I'll show you what I mean. We're almost there. What you're gonna do is you're gonna make this nice and snug as you can, and then you're gonna go behind that double wrapped up and over 3 times. And keep it as close as you can to the last wrap. Like I'm touching, but it seems like they're falling into the other lines. That doesn't look that bad. Doesn't look, looks good. Okay, so you're gonna do 3 there, and then wrap 4 times. 1, 2. See how it doesn't slide up there? Just kind of lift the bar up a little bit. So 4 times, and then you're going to do it again. You're going to grab that. Oh, I wish I could get it closer than that. And then you're going to grab this one 4 times, and note the angle of the, so don't go down here and wrap it. Stay parallel with your bend. There's one. Let's see if I can get close to it. Boy, the dark blue on the dark blue is hard to see. And 3. And then wrap 4 times again. 3 and 4. Keep that arm as close as you like that. And then one last time we're going to grab it. three. Okay. Come on. And then we're going to wrap up to the top point, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're up to here now, and we're going to add this piece, and I'm actually going to leave a little bit. Let's see if I can grab it there. Maybe I can. Yeah, that's a good example. Oh, that's interesting. Did I make it too big? Okay, I want it to sit inside this one. So see, I just grabbed the little hook there. Do a couple more. See what we're going to have it tied to like that. We're going to come down and keep it close to this inside one, and then we're going to catch it with 3 stitches and attach it to this red one here. So we're just going to keep it close and do that weave pattern down to the bottom. If I can tame mine here, I just need them to pop to the back. Weave as tight as you can, and match it to the bend of this one right next to it. And we're going to do the same kind of weave, like a figure 8, over the back 3 times because it's a little bit more of a spread, and then over the top, around the back, through the middle, once, at least twice, then back to the outside, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to do that independently on these two, but when you get down to this last 1/4 inch, stop, and then we'll grab this, I'll show you how to do that. I'll be right back till we get to right about here. Alright, so we've gotten down here to where we're almost out on this little tip side. We got some more room over here. So I'm going to pull a little tail off. Thinking maybe 10, 11 inches. Oh, it turned out really nice and close. So I'm right here out here on the edge. And what I'm going to do, hold these two together, is I'm going to poke this wire right through this weave. Right real close to where this stitch ends. So it looks like it's just flawless match. Which, that's nice. Oh boy. Make sure everything's scooched up nice and tight. Okay, let's try again. See, and it just pulls it nice and tight together. And I'm just going to wrap this little bar 3 times. Where's it focusing? Okay, so wrapped it 3 times, push it up, and then we're going to grab this one again, right at the end of where we wrapped. Nice and snug, and then around this again 3 times. And then one more time. And then wrap that 3 times underneath it. Or 4. And you can always bend on that so it matches. I might even go back and hit that with a hammer if I can do it without smashing everything else. And then just ta-da! And the weaves are nice and tight on that. It looks good. And you can do this too if you want. I might even tighten up that little curl later, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to do the other side to match. I'll be back. Okay, matched up the other wing. It's looking good. Okay, now we're going to do these little bars that wrap around. So you're going to flip it over. And you'll see these 2 long. I should just cut this off. It's not like I can't add it later. Now that I'm almost done. Huh. Okay. So these two back wires, you're just going to keep it down low in the corner and bend it forward like that. Just keep it down there in the corner. And this is the back. And flip it over. Let's keep it close to the bar there. You're just going to wrap around behind it. You'll see it's kind of round, so you're going to want to push that down. Push it down a little more. Just preference. It's going to be a nice guard for the gemstone too. And once you get it where you like it, you can gently use those. Ooh, don't want to do that too hard. Then you're going to go around again. Like that. Do that on this side. So you're on the back here, and you're going to want to just trim these. Out there. And then take your needle nose, and you're just going to make a curl. And just turn it into itself so you don't snag on anything. Looking good. Okay, and then your gemstone, it's an 8mm. You could probably put anything in there you want. It could even be a flat back. But I got a gem. Okay, so to lock this down, we're going back to the half round wire again. And we need a place to tie off. So I'm just going to grab this little bar right here, and I'm going to wrap it 3 times. I'm going to do it off camera because it's fidgety, and I'm just going to go under here and grab it. Be right back. Okay, so I'm tied off right here, and I'm going over the top shoulder and the back. So I'm starting on the top left corner. I'm going to put our little gemstone in. And you're going to come across the top of your stone and go down into this bottom corner here. Just put your thumb over it just so you get a couple on there, and then it'll stay in there. So on the bottom corner, inside those shoulder wraps. So So you're up on the top shoulder and you're going to go down here on the bottom right hand corner on this stone and around behind the blade. And then back up to the top right hand corner on the bottom. And then to the top left hand corner. You'll have like a little diamond going on in the center. You're just gonna move it around your stone. Do you like where it's at? Make sure the lines are snug. That looks pretty good. So back here, we're going to need another tie-off spot. So I'm going to cut my line a few inches. And then I'm just going to find a nice place to tie off that it's symmetrical. I'll be right back. Alright, I tied it off on this side. And I'm going to cut this off. And she's got the stone in. It's looking good. There it is. And it's pretty close to this one. Looks like the wings are almost the same. Pretty cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you make this, I'll put some of my links in for my Instagram and TikTok. And if you make it, I'd love if you would tag me and show me how it turned out. I'd like to see it. And I'll put links in the bottom description of gem sizes and wire I used. And I got this colored wire on Amazon. But thanks again for watching my very first tutorial.